The Jets have a major problem on the roster, and we're going to break it all down for you guys. What's up, Jet fans? I'm Julian Locasto, joined by my co-host, as always, Nick Perry, and this is the Gang Green Report. Guys, if you're tuning in, hit that like button on your way in and subscribe to the channel for more Jets content all off-season long. Let's get into this video, guys. After performing as one of the worst units in football in 2023 season, the Jets offensive line might have improved the most this past season. With the addition of veteran tackle Morgan Moses and newcomer John Simpson coming over from the Ravens, it really helped solidify this offensive line this past season. Simpson being probably one of the biggest surprises of the two. We already knew what Morgan Moses was, but John Simpson was probably one of the biggest risers this entire season. The Jets also got back one of the best young guards in the league with Elijah Vera Tucker coming back from his injury, who missed most of 2023 due to the injury and paved the way for new left tackle Olu Fashanu to be the tackle of the future. After swinging and missing on Tyron Smith this past year, we've kind of been able to see the resurgence and rise of Olu Fashanu. And I think for sure the Jets are going to be primed to have one of the best offensive lines, at least across those four positions for the next couple of years. They finished 2024 ranked in the top 10 of PFF's O-line rankings, and there's a lot to be excited about for the Jets, having 4 of their 5 starters solidified for the next season, at least for 2025. However, this also leaves a major problem for the Jets, seeing that in 2025, Morgan Moses has left the Jets, signing a 3-year deal with the New England Patriots, effectively leaving a massive hole at the right tackle position. Now, the Jets did sign Chukwuma Okorafor for this offseason so far, but is this really a long-term option at right tackle? Nick, give us your opinion on Chukwuma Okorafor.
Yeah, I think could it be a long-term option? I really hope so. I think it would be great. 1,100 plus snaps, right tackle, 60 career starts with the Steelers, 1 start last season by the Patriots, 12 total snaps, then unfortunately quit on the team after being absolutely destroyed by Trey Hendrickson. Obviously, no one knows what happened to him personally and why he decided to go quit the team. To us, it's a bit concerning, but clearly Aaron Glenn, Darren Moji sees something in this guy. Again, you can't teach size or experience at that young of an age and at this level. I think that could be, at worst, Okorafor could be someone that could compete for the right tackle spot in year 1, and we could always draft a replacement in the mid rounds. But at best, this is a depth piece for the Jets. I think we all have a ton of scenarios that are kind of running through our heads right now where we could kind of move people and what he can do. But I think is he a long-term option? I definitely hope so. This would be awesome. This would be great. I think our O-line, like you said, took a huge, massive step this past offseason, which is always our big downfall. I think signing him could be a step in the right direction for sure, kind of solidify just in case of injuries.
Yeah, absolutely. At worst, you're getting a guy that could rotate in and has that starting experience if we do have injuries down the road. But at, best case scenario, he was a right tackle who started over 3+ seasons for the Steelers and was a solid guy in that position for years with that offensive line. So at the worst, we're getting a guy that has experience that could be a swing tackle for us. Best case scenario, might be our starting right tackle this year. Who knows? Now, the other scenario for the Jets would be what some fans are starting to speculate, and that's using newfound signing Josh Myers, former Packers starting center, signed for a 1-year deal around $3.5 million, and have him essentially be the new starting center and shift Tippmann to right guard and have AVT out to right tackle. Why does this make sense for the Jets? Well, Myers was a 3-year NFL starter at the center position, played over 1,100 plus snaps at the position, only letting up a sack the season prior. He did have some issues with pressures and hurries. He gave up quite a bit of those. I believe 31 pressures, 24 hurries. Not ideal at the center position, but he is a guy that can step in and be a starter for you. On top of that, Myers was also a 4-year starter at Ohio State, and we all know our new starting quarterback, Justin Fields, was his quarterback under center during that time period. So there is a bit of connection there. The two kind of have that experience with each other. So it kind of raises a lot of questions in terms of what are we doing here? Is this a low-end backup? Or are we going to see AVT move out to tackle? Nick, what are your opinions on this? Do you see a scenario where the Jets could potentially move AVT out to the tackle position?
I definitely see like a scenario we can move him to the tackle position. He's proved that he can play that before, which is great. My My only concern with it is that Tippmann has proven to be a solid center. He's proven to be a guy who can really just hunker down on that line, making sure nobody gets to Aaron last year. Nobody's getting to Justin this year. We also saw him play that guard position a little bit. Me personally, I would just hate to mess with that flow that they have going together in that offensive line. I feel like, as we all know, just flow on the offensive line and communication, I feel like, is key on an offensive line. Other positions you kind of get away with plugging pieces here, plugging pieces there, getting in and out, next guy up mentality. But I think that offensive line for us was so good last year, or I should say so good for our standards, that I would keep it the same, level-headed. Nothing's to say that they get into camp and this guy is just unbelievable and you're like, all right, let's bump Tippmann out. We know he could play it. But I would keep it the way it is, have Okorafor at right tackle or possibly draft somebody. That's just me personally. But I feel like, again, you kind of can't go wrong. He has starting experience. I'm Josh Myers. So, yeah, I would keep it the same.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Personally, I'd rather have Myers as a high-end backup, kind of keeping AVT at his natural position. But I could see the argument for both and kind of putting the best five out on the field. You're like in basketball, you're always going to put your best starting five out there. But same thing with an offensive line. Some coaches believe in just putting their best starters out there, their best five out there. But, the Jets might believe in continuity and just keeping those starting four guys that were there all last season. They built a chemistry with each other. If I was to bet on it, the majority of the guys we've signed are all just going to be brought in to be high-end backups rather than starters. So I can really see either scenario playing out. But, that could be something that the Jets have to potentially work with. At the end, though, guys, I can definitely see the Jets looking to right tackle in the draft as well. If we do have that option, I could see a couple of scenarios. The first being, first round, if we go early in the draft. We've talked about this in previous videos, but Armand Membu out of Missouri could be a really good, intriguing option if he's there at pick number 7. He's getting a lot of buzz now ever since the combine and how he performed there. He's getting as much as I've seen him go as high as 4 to the Patriots. So, this is a guy that's starting to get a lot of buzz. He's starting to really climb up draft boards. If we're there at pick 7 and we really want to go with a right tackle of the future, Detroit built their line up pretty stoutly over the years, and that was like a big calling card for them. And Aaron Glenn coming over from there with a really stout offensive line might want to go with that route. We don't know. So that could be an option in the first round. If we're going with a mid-round swing type of guy, I can definitely see, I'm a big fan favorite of Ozzie Trapillo. He's a really big fan favorite in the Jets community. Another guy that could be there in that kind of like 2nd to 4th round range aside from him could be, and I'm going to butcher his name, but Ariante Irsay out of Minnesota. This is a guy that is starting to really shoot up boards, especially with how well he did at the combine, with a lot of his athletic measurables. A lot of guys, he has a basketball background. So we kind of assumed that he was going to perform well just because of that athleticism that he did have as a basketball player. So that is somebody that could potentially be flying up boards in the mid rounds. And again, if you want to take a late swing on a guy, we're talking like 4th and onward. Chase Lunt is probably going to be a guy out of UConn that's a really good option. Emory Jones, LSU right tackle. Ajani Cornelius is a big name that's being floated around as a late round option that's getting a lot of buzz. Right tackle out of Oregon. And then one of Dom C., famous scout in the Jets community, talks a lot about Hollins Pierce out of Rutgers. I've been doing a lot of deep dives on him. He's somebody that could be a really intriguing option late in this draft who might fly up boards just because of his pure size and freak ability. Those are guys that I'd be willing to take a little bit of a flyer on. Guys, let us know below. Whatever the Jets do at right tackle, we have the depth to at least get by there now, especially with a lot of these signings that we have. But right tackle will almost certainly be a big need going into the 2025 draft. So let us know in the comments below. What do you guys want to see the Jets do at right tackle? Are we looking to move AVT to right tackle? Are we going to attack this in the draft? Don't forget to like this video, guys, if you enjoyed this. Subscribe if you're new. And as always, guys, go Jets.